Hello, welcome to our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. I think it's 6 May. It's Wednesday. It's garbage day. It's already May. It's headed into June. Summer is here if they stop spraying us. Anyway, the world order is breaking down. We'll talk about that in a minute. First, the world order that was established after World War II is now beginning to break down, and we'll talk about why. First of all, a little bit about Get the Tea. We have the peppermint, which is these are two super strains. Yikes, we had the peppermint we're using now. Anyway, just a note just about super strength tea. If you got problems with your digestive system, if you're over, say, 40 years old and you're eating some of these processed foods, cheese nips, sweet thins, I love them, but they don't love me. Canola oil, garbage that shuts your kidney down and your liver and all that stuff. Anyway, if you're eating processed food, this is essential. Otherwise, you're going to carry around about 10 pounds of stuff stuck and you're going to be miserable. So this super strength tea is super strength. So use it accordingly. I use the super strength tea over about a 10-day period, and it just keeps me flowing regular. Now, I take probiotics and prebiotics and all these other things. So my gut's good. It's just this processed food you can't digest. And this super strength tea, I was designing something similar when I ran into the owner of the company. And we just hit it off. I mean, my formula was very similar to what he had. And I said, well, let's go with yours. It's commercially available. So I don't make money doing this. I just love Get the Tea. Anyway, 928-308-0408. And on the 9th of May is National Sock Day. And on the 10th of May, don't forget, guys, it's Mother's Day. Don't forget. You'll be in the hot seat for a year if you forget Mother's Day. And 5 May, an FAA Administrator Dean, I'm gonna butcher the name, Chia Aya, threatened President Trump on an FAA email. He just emailed Trump and said, I'm going to kill you. He's insane. This Dean, the FAA Administrator, is insane. Now, we've warned Trump about the 16th of April when somebody went right through White House security. We warned them about the White House Correspondents' Dinner a few days later with the shooting. In fact, we sent them an email 2 hours beforehand. We warned them before the 28th breach in White House security. We warned him before the 3rd of May breach in security where a guy goes running in there to kill Trump at the Doral golf course. We warned him on the 4th of May when there was a shooting just south and east of the White House. And we warned him about the threats to his life, the FAA Administrator. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 warnings in 3 weeks. And his response was, censor him. So we warned Trump of an assassination attempt 6 times in the last 15, from the 16th of April to 5 May, 20 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times we warned him. And the response of the White House is censor him. They're not human. They're just, something's wrong mentally upstairs. Anyway, and Del Monte Foods went bankrupt. The way it works is there's a lot of farmers, and they have a contract to sell to Del Monte Foods. So there's over 3,000 acres of peach orchards alone in California that sell to Del Monte's. It's a foreign-owned corporation, somebody in China, I believe. But anyway, so all these different independent farmers sell to Del Monte's. Well, Del Monte was sued to death by the Department of Justice in the States. They lost money. They got tired of the lawsuits. So Del Monte is out of business. Just like all the car companies, just like Walgreens, just like they got sued out of business by the Department of Justice in the States. Lawsuit, lawsuit, lawsuit. The Department of Justice is here to destroy America. So they closed their doors a couple of days ago. And the Department of Agriculture, there are 3,000 acres of peach trees. And the Department of Agriculture is paying the farmers $200,000 per acre to rip the peach trees out of the ground and grind them into the soil. They're not going to sell them for paneling. They're not going to sell them to produce heat. They're not going to sell them to grind them up for these people who smoke meat. They're going to grind up the trees and turn them into soil. $200,000. The farmers weren't going to do that. They were just going to keep selling peaches till the Department of Agriculture got their filthy, dirty nose involved in it. So now the trees are going to be destroyed. And as we announced earlier, we said the Department of War is no longer going to fund the Ukrainian war, but the State Department will. Well, the State Department just announced this morning $380 million going to the Ukraine. You see, we make 15,000 bombs a year. That's $1 million a bomb if you include the mounting kit and the guidance systems. So the JDAM guidance system is being put, this is announced all over the place, not top secret. So the JDAM guidance system is being put on the jets because when you drop the bomb, you lose the little thing that holds the bomb under the wing. So for about $1 million a piece, 380 bombs are being sold to the Ukraine. That's about, I'd say that's about 9 days of bomb production. So where are we going to drop the next 9 bombs? Well, obviously, in a few days, it's going to ratchet up with Iran because they're going to shoot the ships, because that's what the Lloyd's of London is paying them to do, shoot ships, raise the insurance rates. So we'll drop another 3,000 or 4,000 bombs on Iran. We got to drop 15,000 bombs somewhere. Anyway, that's just all there is to it. And in the meantime, Russia's selling enormous amounts of oil. The United States is selling enormous amounts of oil. China has enormous amounts of oil stored, and they are selling their reserves oil like crazy. They have a 13 million barrel a day shortage. There's 100 million barrels traveling around the world every day. Barrels of oil. We're not going to go to water-powered cars. We're not going to go to water-powered generators. If you build one, you'll be killed by the oil companies. But we will continue with gasoline, generators, things like that. So we're going to destroy the environment. That's the goal of the oil companies. So knowing that, British Petroleum, England has enormous amounts of wealth in terms of oil north of England. They used to produce 2 million barrels a day and only use 1 million barrels. Now they're only using about 650,000 barrels, but their production is plummeting. British Petroleum is pulling out of Britain. BP. British Petroleum is pulling out of Britain. They're no longer going to drill oil offshore Britain because the taxes are so high. So as we have a 13 million barrel oil shortage per day, British Petroleum is going to create another 1 million barrel a day oil shortage because Starmer, the walking, talking demon, remember I get the Lucifer letters, is overtaxing them. So British Petroleum is leaving Britain. Pretty bizarre, but true. And finally, the New World Order was set up. I think it was 14 June. It was in 1944. I remember reading about it. The Rockefellers gave a $12 million grant. Of course, the Rockefellers don't give grants out. They get it from you and I, and then they give it away. We fund the Rockefellers. They wear big, huge gold symbols of Lucifer. Lucifer Trust. They renamed it the Lucas Trust. I get the Devil's newsletters. I'm going to read those today and let you know what they said. So I listened to 4 hours of a broadcast. Fascinating to understand God's word and then listen to Lucifer. So back in 1944 in San Francisco, the United Nations was set up and established, but the building they wanted them to move into was at the time owned by the Rockefellers in New York City. So New York City's been the world's financial capital since Britain pulled out in 1789 out of New York. They were there in 1781 when the peace treaties were signed, but they didn't leave New York for another 8 years. They set up the financial capital for the free world, which is no longer free. And then during WW2, we set up the United Nations as the world capital in New York, but it's actually run out of Geneva. So the primary inputs where Satan comes through the astral plane into our world is Tokyo, Darjeeling, India, Geneva, London, and New York. Those are the five most satanic cities in the world. Darjeeling, India, Tokyo, New York City, Geneva, and London. Those are the centers of Satanism. So unbelievable. British Petroleum leaving Britain. Never thought I'd see the day when British Petroleum would leave them. So in 1944, we set up the United Nations in San Francisco. We moved it to New York. to set up the New World Order. 50 nations signed on to the UN treaty. In 1950, we set up we established NATO. Colonel Terry Swan wrote the original treaties. I read them. And it was to establish and set forth a standard caliber. See, one nation was using a .308 round, and another nation was using a .30-06. Another nation was using a different round. And the tanks had 75 millimeter cannon, 76 millimeter cannon, 88 millimeter cannon, 105 millimeter cannon, and 120 millimeter cannon. And so when the United States manufactured weapons to destroy Germany, we had to manufacture a whole lot of different calibers to provide the English army, the French army, the Belgian army, the Polish army with different calibers for the guns they had. So not only did we have to produce a standardized gun, the M1 carbine, we also had to produce a standardized weapon size. And that's what happened. The United States became the weapon supplier for Europe. There's a lot of money under the table going on that deal. So the United States became, because there wasn't anything left of Europe. They wiped themselves out again. The buildings were destroyed. The arms manufacturing facilities were destroyed. So we also set up the Marshall Plan, where we would give Europe an enormous amount of money and lend them money, which they've never paid back. They will not pay back. So when Reagan came along, he ended the Marshall Plan. Bush Sr., I don't know what he did. The guy was head of the CIA. He could have done anything. And then came a nutcase called Clinton, who committed treason, and a two-star general came to me and said, Clinton's committing treason, will you join me in a coup? I said, I will follow my colonel anywhere. Well, they decided not to have the coup. I won't tell you the name of the general, but I would have followed my colonel anywhere. So Clinton reinitiated the Marshall Plan, and then the next guy, Bush, ended it, and then Obama just gave away trillions of dollars. We gave about 2 times 8, about $16 trillion to Europe over the 8-year period. You wonder why our debt's so high? Don't question it. It's high. And then came Trump, who ended it, and then came Biden. We gave about $8 trillion to Europe in that period, all through debt. And now it's a total mess. It's a total absolute mess. Trump ended the Marshall Plan. The European economy is collapsing. So the New World Order is falling apart because, remember, the precepts of Satan are public education, train them the Christians are mad, kill the Christians, destroy the Christians, burn their churches down, destroy the family through homosexuality and LGBT and free sex change operations, which the VA authorizes, by the way. They won't give me an inhaler or fix my teeth, which is service-connected. But by God, if I want to turn into a girl, they'll turn me into a girl. No questions asked. And then they'll give me whatever I want. As long as I'm one of their experiments or guinea pigs. Well, I don't want to take their antipsychotic drugs. I don't want any of their opiums. I don't want any of their LSD. None of it. They can keep their LSD derivatives like Prozac and Ambien. Keep it away from me. Because when they give it to you, then they blood test you. Once you're on an antipsychotic, they claim you lose your constitutional rights. And the Democrats have proven that in court. How can you lose your constitutional rights? Because they say you do. And you understand under the British Maritime Law. I don't think so. So the precepts are public education, kill and destroy Christianity, kill, and destroy Christianity, and destroy the family. That means massive social control. What we destroyed in 1945 was National Socialism. We have it back. All Fortune 500 companies are controlled with your taxpayer dollars. National Socialism. Except they're running out of somebody else's money all over the world. So the National Socialism is collapsing. The United Nations, which is the headquarters of the National Socialists. Hitler was National Socialist Democratic Party. The Democrats are the National Socialist Party. That's how they're registered in the IRS. They are the same party that started WW2. They did fund the Germans, and they did fund Mussolini, Italy, during WW2. They built the Tiger tank factories. They built the Panzerkampfwagen factories in Germany. Ford did. They were paid by the Democrats in Congress. And then Ford sued the American government for bombing those factories and won in court. Can you believe that? Anyway, so I listened to 4 hours of this. They believe, Ronald Reagan talked about this years ago, if I work, say I work, and I don't consider this work because I don't get paid for it, and I have fun, the VA recommended I do something because I was bored, and I had already been fighting veterans battles, and that sort of one thing led to another, and here I am. Anyway, the day I make money on this will be the day I'm dead. Anyway, they believe that if you work 8 hours a day, you should share your wealth with somebody who doesn't work or works 2 hours a day. They believe that if you want a boat, you get a second job, you have a boat, 24-foot boat, cabin cruiser, beautiful boat. But you want a bigger boat, so you get a second job, so you can have maybe a 40-foot Ocean Alexander. Much nicer boat, $250,000. You get a second job, you can have the second boat. Well, what they believe is you shouldn't be able to buy that boat. You should buy somebody a boat who doesn't work. Or you should pay for their housing because they don't want to work. So 50% of the kids in America are being raised on welfare with a mommy only. That ensures they will be criminals. 95% break the law before the age of 18. So the welfare system, not only is it sending $1 trillion overseas to terrorists, the welfare system is raising a generation of criminals. That's what it's set to do. Destroy, destroy, destroy. Trump hasn't eliminated the refugee pay. They're still giving $500,000 homes away to refugees coming into America. They're still giving them $8,500 apiece. So a married couple, so two people, the wife just claims that the husband doesn't live with a wife. They get $8,500 plus $8,500. Go to Salishan. We did a video, got 1 million hits. We had to erase it. Why? Because YouTube thought I was being racist. I didn't know what race they were. All I knew is they were getting 85. At the time, they were getting $5,500, $5,000, $5,500 a month. They get a 6% raise, and you on Social Security get a 2% raise. Why? Because they want the older people dead. They're going to fund a war in Ukraine because they want the older people dead. The amount of money we've spent in the Ukraine would quadruple Social Security output. Actually, it would raise social. If we spent that money on Social Security for retired people, each person on Social Security would be receiving $15,000 to $20,000 a month if we didn't fund the war in the Ukraine. Do the math. We've spent over $4 trillion in the Ukraine. We're still spending $10 billion a month to keep their government running. We're trying to hand it over to Europe, but Trump won't do it. Instead, he's going to fund welfare, he's going to fund refugee pay, and he's going to destroy America. That's what was left on the table for him. He held it together in his first presidency, and I don't know what he's doing now. I mean, we warned him before the 16th of April, before the press conference where the shooting was, before the 28th of April breach, the 3 May shooting, the 4 May, when the shooting, the 5th May, the FAA administrator, we warned him before each of those. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 threats on him in 20 days. And the response of the White House is, censor me. It makes no sense. And now the New World Order is falling apart because as a communist, nobody wants their LGBT gay sex in their country. Muslims don't want it. The Christians don't want it. The Jews don't want it. The Catholics don't want it. Nobody wants it. The Mormons don't want it. They were forced to hire gay scoutmasters, and all of a sudden, the gay scoutmasters I was there. All of a sudden, the lawsuits started against Boy Scouts for raping children. We had a gay scoutmaster rape one of our children. My father went to his house with everyone, every male in the scout troop. The dads went to his house, took him, poured tar on him, and took a feather pillow and put it on, threw him in a train car and locked the door. That's what we used to do to people who rape children. Now, like the last 2 cases I looked at, they put him in jail for 3 months. You rape a child, you're in jail for 3 months. You rape and murder a child, you're in jail for 6 months. The Department of Justice wants Americans dead. And the sooner the Department of Justice is defunded and Trump gets the guts to cross them out, the better. We need a president with guts. We need the president who knows how to go like this. That's all he has to do. That. He doesn't even have to sign his name. He just has to go like that. Eliminate their funding. They pass a bill, 10,000 grants. Trump just has to go like this. That grant is canceled. That's all he has to do, is take his pen and go like that. The Department of Justice is defunded. He can fund the Supreme Court out of the State Department. Why not? They fund all the terrorism. They won't pay me back what they stole. They stole money from a foreign ambassador living overseas. They violated the Vienna Convention of Diplomatic Relations, and Lucifer hasn't taken them on yet. Lucifer's losing control because he didn't do what he was supposed to do. Lucifer's a liar. He's losing control. I know, I read this. So now they're going to try to destroy everything. That's Lucifer's way. He's lost. He's going to turn the table over like he's playing Monopoly, and he just lost Park Place and Boardwalk, and he's going to flip the board over because he's mad. So he wants to destroy the human race. And they're losing control, massive control. So anyway, that's what's happening. And after 4 hours of listening to it, I realized that these guys who run the world, who are the elites, who make billions of dollars, want the rest of us as their little slaves to live in apartments and live on top ramen and rice. That's it. If you're too old, they kill you. Just like in the movies. Oh, you're over 60, you're dead. Just like in the movies. That's their goal, and they've told it to us over and over and over again. And now it's coming true. And Trump is part of it. When Trump grows some baseballs below the belt, then I'll understand. But right now, Lucifer has lost control. He can't even make the Securities and Exchange Commission pay me back the $60,000 they stole from me. He just stole it. He can't even make the SEC pay me back. A foreign ambassador. Vienna Convention of Diplomatic Relations, they've lost control. Lucifer has lost control of his kingdom. It's falling apart. God bless. Thank you very much. And they're upset. Boy, are they upset. Woo-wee. God bless. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow.